Hello, everybody, and welcome to round 4 of the TSRC Tin Top Series. It's season 2. It's time for Daytona and the high banks again. It's very much the time of year for Daytona, isn't it? And so that's where we're taking place through round 4. We've already had our first half of the season now, just 6 races of 40 minutes making up our calendar, and that has brought us to this stage now at the World Centre of Racing. It's myself, Ian Leary, and James Prophet with you for this round of the championship again. As I mentioned, 40 minutes of racing coming up very shortly after the qualifying session that will be starting in a few moments' time. The driver briefing looks like it's just finished, and so the session will be moving on forwards very shortly. It's time for Daytona, though. I have a feeling this is going to be a good round because of the difference in speed for these two car classes. Now, when you think back to the opening round of the season at Silverstone, the Cup cars only really had to do TCR lap traffic once at most, and there wasn't really much to it at Silverstone, but at a more straight line speed oriented circuit like we've already seen at the Red Bull Ring, get a bit more lap traffic because these Porsche Cup cars are very quick in a straight line. So well, that's very quick. That's not going to be allowed. Yeah, it should allow for more lap traffic and hopefully a more interesting race as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be here this evening. I think Daytona is Daytona. Okay, every man, his dog, his frog, and his pet pig have all been to Daytona. Everybody has driven around Daytona, whether it be a D24, whether it be in local leagues, whether it be testing, they've all done it. So these guys know this circuit. They know the challenges of turn 1. They know the challenges of coming out of turn 7, applying the power too early before you go into NASCAR 1, and it's going to cause you a problem. So they all know this. So when it comes to traffic, I'm expecting the traffic to stay on the inside, and I'm expecting the Cup cars to run high and wide round the outside of them. If it becomes any problems that they've caught them down into going into 1, then they're going to have to wait until the International Horseshoe to make a move. I'm hoping it goes clean. I really am, and I'm hoping there's no dramas. But we got multi-class at Daytona, and that's always dramatic on its own right.
It's going to be very interesting, though. I hope that you'll enjoy the racing. 40 minutes here tonight. Let's have a look, meanwhile, at the championship standings, because now we've had 3 rounds, it's even better to look at the scores with the drop weeks applied as well. So starting with the Porsche Cup class, Jamie Nuttall is leading the way after 2 race wins in 2 weeks. He wasn't at the first round, so doesn't have a drop week to fall back on. Hayden Miller is in second place. He's got a first and a second counting towards his score, and then a bit of a drop back to Rafael Durica, who is in third. Then it's Ryan Walker and Louis Hesketh rounding out the top 5, with Gergely Gonzalo, Samuel Kremers next ahead of Came Up Big Block. Then William Chandler and Matt Acton, who are tied in 9th place. Matt Territon's just outside that top 10 alongside Anthony Daban with Guillaume Hamling and Jake Pitt and Robin Katzelberger rounding out those who have done a race so far this season in the Porsche Cup class. In the TCRs, we've got a double race winner as well in Kieran Sharp, who's leading the way by 8 points, and his gap bigger. First of all, because Tom Davidson's best result, also first and second, but mostly because his gap's bigger. He's got the fastest laps to his name, and that's pushing him up ahead. Again, like in the Porsche Cup standings, 2 well ahead of the rest here as well. Josh Millington is third, ahead of Bobby Moss and Andrew Pike, rounding out the top 5. Nick Clibbins and Paul Smith are tied in 6th, ahead of Bart Raven. Then it's Mav Gardner and Johnny Woo rounding out the top 10, though Woo's tied with Grant Miller and James Magersgale. Stefan Hutcher is 13th, ahead of Matt Smith, with Thomas Martin tied 15th with Gareth Ronda and Pierre-Antoine Delaire. Then it's Marlin Schwab in 18th position. A lot more TCRs, as you've noticed, in the field this season than there are Porsche Cup drivers, because behind that is Daniel Roberts, Lewis Mason, Scott Warner and Artem Kvasov, although they've got minus points for various reasons down at the bottom. So into qualify we go. Just over 2.5 minutes gone, and that's given them time to get round in time. Again, qualifying important in this series, to be honest, because 40 minutes is not a very long race. And also, you want to be up front for any potential chaos in towards the difficult first corner that you get around this circuit.
Difficult first corner. It shouldn't be hard. You come off the banking, you drop down into the turn. That's it, right? No. Because there's always somebody who's going to go and try and do a 2-3 wide 2 or 3 wide move. They're always going to try something, and it can go quite wrong very, very quickly. Let's hope it doesn't. Let's see how they handle this. I'm hoping the TCRs run on the inside.
Let's see what they do. There's going to be a mixture of cars from both categories going all over the place. So I hope we're ready for that. Hayden Miller has set the purple sector in the first 2 so far. It's a very long final sector, by the way. It's about 30 seconds when you consider there's 5 for the whole track. I don't really know how that's happened, but anyway, over the line he goes, and he's going to set the mark for everybody else. And it's quicker than Jamie Nuttall, actually. There, 45.7 from Miller to begin with. And so far, nobody able to go anywhere near him. Rafa Durica sets the final 3 sectors as purple. It wasn't quite as good as Miller's first 2 sectors, though. And so the gap between those 2/2 of a second here after the first round of times in the Porsche Cup class. Now, what about the TCRs? Kieran Sharp sets the benchmark. He might not be beaten from there, to be fair. That's a good time and a good benchmark from him.
Yeah, Davidson's only managed in 2nd place. The times are coming in a bit thick and fast, so the table's going a little bit mental at the moment. But Raven is out on the racetrack. He's going to be the next one over the line in the TCRs. 14th place for Bart on a 1:58.960. Nearly 2 minute per laps for the TCRs. That's going to be also involved with the 1:45 for the P Cup. So it's like 12 seconds difference. So theoretically, we've got, what's it going to be? Probably 7 or 8 laps before they start lapping.
Yeah, I'll do the maths on that in a moment. But yeah, that sounds about right. Actually, yeah, we'll see how many we get by the end of the day. Don't think it's quite going to be like Silverstone, where, as I say, some of the TCRs finished only 1 lap down after 40 minutes. It's kind of bizarre. But again, it's a difference in the way that the different circuits work. Here's Hayden Miller. 3 purple sectors so far from him, and this is going to be an even bigger time by the looks of things. He's running right around with Jamie Nuttall. They're in a private session, by the way, each of them. Then he and Nuttall are right on top of each other at the moment. They're going to come over the line together again here, and I think Miller's going to beat him again for the 2nd time in a row. There you go, quicker again from Miller. It's quicker again from Nuttall, but he's still 3rd position and still a good half a second off the pole at the moment.
Yeah, he's struggling a little bit, but it's really hard, right, because I've watched NASCAR races here, and it doesn't matter where you are in qualifying because of the draft keeps you in. If Nuttall could stay with Miller, or Dorica could stay with Miller through the infield section, they're going to pull that time back every single time on the draft. So I'm not overly worried at the moment for Rafael Dorica or Jamie Nuttall, because they can use the draft. The same in the TCRs with Kieran Sharp and Tom Davidson. However, that's 7 thousandths of a difference between Sharp and 2 thousandths of a difference, sorry, between Sharp and Davidson. So again, the draft's going to aid these guys in front. The draft's going to be worth quite a lot, and we know that, you can get it at around about 6/10, maybe a little bit more, that will really aid you. So I think, although they are behind him, I don't think they're going to be that worried at the moment.
It's going to be huge in the TCR class, the draft, that's for sure. But even in prototype racing around here early on in the iRacing Daytona 24 Hours, for example, it is big to be up towards the front with other prototypes, so it doesn't really matter what car you're in. Around this circuit, it's very important to be in the draft, although, as you say, it's not quite like NASCAR racing, where the draft is absolutely everything. It's just quite a lot of a thing here in the road course racing. A lot of drivers haven't set times yet, only 26 on the board, but we've got 32 in the session. Thomas Martin's just coming over the line now. Is this lap going to count for him? It's his 2nd attempt, and it has. Oh no, it hasn't, excuse me. Ryan Walker's did. He moves up the order a little bit. Where did Walker get to? 4th place. And it looked like it did actually count in the end for one of the drivers down at the back of the field. Anyway, they've moved on upwards. Yeah, we are getting those times in now. For whatever reason, Clement Pitblock and Anthony Daban don't seem to want to set times. 2.5 minutes to go. They're not going to have time to do so. So they've chosen not to. The reason I brought those other four up was because they tried to set times, on some cases, on a couple of occasions, but only now have only just managed it. It's going to be a little bit of an off-track heavy circuit, that's for sure, here at Daytona. But you should get enough incident points with 17 allowed for the race. That should be enough to get you through, even though it is very possible to run yourself off the circuit round here. Meanwhile, here's Tom Davidson over the line. He's shortening his distance as much as possible. And that's not going to do him any favours. He's going to stay in second.
Yeah, he is. He didn't quite get there. Trying to run around that field as well, trying to reduce it as much as possible to see if it would help here. But it's going to be interesting to see what the likes of Nuttall's going to be able to do. If he's got one more in him, is he going to be able to get his through? Let's watch the final ending. This is going into Le Mans, of course, the newly named Le Mans chicane, which is a little bit different now compared to this layout. So I do wonder when we're going to get the upgraded Le Mans chicane compared to what it is now.
The tarmac, on the circuit. I hope we keep this version, to be honest with you, but anyway, we'll see what happens. Out towards the line then for Nuttall. Is this going to be any quicker? I think he might be able to do enough to get on the front row, but whether he'll get pole or not is another question. It's going to be close. Over the line, and it is not enough. Doesn't count by the looks of it. Well,
looks like
no time came through, so yeah, he must have gone off track somewhere. That is that then for Nuttall. It's not a disaster. Third place, absolutely not a disaster at all. But the fact Hayden Miller is so quick is going to be of a concern to him for sure.
Yeah, it is. And he's just going to have to get his head down and try and stay with him. I think that's the thing. He's just going to have to get his head down. He's got to try and stay with him and make sure he can use the NASCAR corners to really pull him in with that draft. So we'll see how these get on. We'll see how Nuttall, Dorica and Miller go, and we'll see what happens there as well. Matthew Schroeder, let's go Pierre-Antoine, Shrooms in, and Numbers apparently is in YouTube chat. I'm not sure who Numbers is.
All of them. That's a lot of them.
Yeah, it chooses to be multiple.
Anyway.
Multiple numbers.
So that's endless indeed. Pierre-Antoine Delaire, by the way, who indeed is Mathieu is supporting, has qualified third in the TCR class, by the way, as you're about to see. It is Hayden Miller who is on the pole overall, ahead of Rafael Durica, with Jamie Nuttall and Guillaume Hamling on row 2. Ryan Walker and Samu Kremers are next, ahead of Gergely Conchabo and Louis Hesketh. Then it's Matt Acton and Matt Cherrington, row 5, the first all UK and Ireland row. William Chandler is 11th, ahead of Anthony Dabin, and then the Porsche Cup grid is going to be made up with Kemal Biblock, those final two drivers not setting any times. Kieran Sharp takes pole in TCR ahead of Tom Davison and Pierre-Antoine Delaire. Paul Smith and Andrew Pike are on the next row ahead of Bobby Moss and Josh Millington. Marlon Schwab and Mav Gardner on the next row ahead of Lewis Mason and Stefan Hutter on row 12 overall. Then down towards the back, James Magiscal and Bart Raven next ahead of Grant Miller and Thomas Martin. Matt Smith, Johnny Woo, Daniel Roberts and Gareth Ronda round out the 32 drivers. All of the TCRs did actually set times there, all 19 of them, the field. So a really great TCR entry for this round, actually, and hopefully a good race between them as well. As we've talked about before, the slipstream is going to be so important for them. The cars are so slow in relation to this circuit. They'll be on the banking for a long time, and that will create a lot of draft throughout this race.
Oh, there is going to be tons of draft. It will be people using it to their advantage. There's going to be people using it to block slower cars in. It's just going to be an absolute, how can I put it? It's going to be, I think with back markers and stuff like that, it's going to be the man with the most amount of patience is going to take the victory in the P-Cups.
There's going to be so much draft, you're going to ask them to close the door in a minute.
Because, that would do.
That's what Daytona's like. It's a real drafting circuit, more than we've got at any other venue, not only on this calendar, but I would argue in iRacing, to be honest, for a road course. Even Monza isn't quite like this. So yeah, it's a very draft-heavy circuit indeed, and indeed the Nürburgring that we're going to next week is very similar as well. Miller on the front then, on the way down towards turn 1. He's just going to hope for a nice clean start and to control the field early on here.
Yeah, he's going to try and want to escape at the beginning if he can. He really needs to go and make a move and try and pull away. The question is he going to be able to? Whether or not Dorica or Nuttall's going to allow him to, we're going to find out. The TCR's leaving a nice spread. Hopefully it doesn't all go wrong going into turn 1.
A few of those Porsche Cup cars just hanging off the back for the moment. hopefully not getting a bit of a run. That won't be allowed, but they need to get into line pretty quickly here because the BMW pace car is about to pull into pit lane and Hayden Miller is about to be in control of the field here. A little bit of weaving from Durica there, but he needs to concentrate on the blue car just to the left of him at the moment because that's where the action's going to be. Hayden Miller leaving it late, now waiting up when the green flag waves and immediately pulling out there Samuel Kremers on the outside line, already making it pretty wide down in towards turn number 1 as we're racing here at Daytona. It is Miller who takes the lead into turn 1. Nuttall is up to second. Durica's been trounced here on the start. He's got passed by Ryan Walker as well, who's up to third position, although it's not done quite yet. Still side by side. Walker's on the outside for the next corner here. Durica breaks very late on the inside line. He locks up. He's going to go straight to the side of him, is he? No, not quite. Here comes Louis Hesketh on the inside. What a great pass from him. He's going to take 2 in 1 through the international horseshoe.
Yeah, Hesketh there with an amazing, he went up the inside. It was almost 3 wide going on, but the TCRs have started as well. Sabo seems to be a little bit slow in the back, but Raven also looks like he's been up with William Hamlin. But at the moment for TCRs, Tom Davison out in front ahead of Kieran Sharp. So Tom Davison is ahead of Kieran Sharp at this moment in time, but we are still only a minute in and we've still got nearly 39 to go. So let's see how this one pans out. Oh, incident over Matt Cheverton from the side of the circuit. It's going to be here with the draft. I just want to see how it's going to be picked up.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's within a second, so it's all right at the moment. Miller's not broken away from anybody here, and so the speed that you're going to get as you go further down the line, people like Hamling, who is and Matt Acton, who are right in the middle of the pack and right up close to each other, they're going to be going at unbelievable speed going down into the bus stop, and you've got to make sure brake early enough for this bus stop chicane, otherwise you'll be in real trouble and you'll be going straight on. Meanwhile, yeah, it's only Cheverton who's fallen afoul of things in the Porsche Cup class. Nobody's got away. That is so interesting early on. Normally you see at least a gap of a second somewhere, but no. And Nuttall might look to take advantage. Is he going to try and pass him, or is he going to stay behind early on here as they make their way over the line? He stays behind and maybe plays the fuel game here early on.
Yeah, I think he's got the option of saving fuel, so I think for him, he's going to be able to sit back and wait as much as possible. And I think for Nuttall, he can use the fuel and go ahead and see if he can save on the pit stops. I think that's got to be Nuttall's plan. But Miller, Nuttall, Hesketh, it looks like Kramer's has had a bit of dramatics. He's off the side of the circuit at the same time. Davidson still leading TCRs there. With Davidson there with Kieran Sharp tucked in behind him. But it looks like Kramer's and also Cheverton are having a nice little bit of a ding-dong, but the TCRs are not very far away. So we'll see how these guys get on.
There's been a drama for third in TCR as well, because there's a big gap that's open there. There's so much going on out there on the circuit at the moment, to be honest. Durica and Walker are going side by side again. That's Ryan Walker trying to get up to fourth, and that is allowing the front 3 to get away. There's almost too much to look at the moment. Here comes Walker in the silver and blue. He's not going to get anywhere. Now he just needs to push Rafael Durica, in my opinion, here. Just try and get back involved in the leading fight, although maybe these guys back here realise that they're not in a leading fight anyway here. They're never going to pick the leading 3 in a straight fight, so we might as well fight for 4th place. I'm not sure, but at the moment that is a gap that has opened on lap 2 as a result of their driving. Here goes Walker very deep into the bus stop. Acton's too late on the brakes. Gurley Gonzalo is going to try and take advantage of that, and so is Matt Acton as well, who's really close behind.
Yeah, he got it wrong there, Ryan Walker, a little bit slow coming out, unfortunately for him. There he is there. William Hamlin got Matt Acton behind him. Gonzalo's very, very high. He's almost like using a slingshot technique coming off, but Walker now is all going to be under pressure. I think there's going to be a slowdown for Ryan Walker, and he's going to lose that place to Matt Acton and William Hamlin. Chandler got past Gonzalo. I think Gonzalo did the same thing as Walker and got a slowdown at the same time. So lots of action, but you can see at the moment he's just got it all wrong there. Has William Chandler in going into turn 1. So at the moment, this is absolutely flat manic. We are waiting for this. I don't know if it's ever going to calm down, Ewan, but at the best of times, it's going to be absolutely mental.
Yeah, it has been very busy so far. There's a lot of slowdowns, and that's what you'll see when they're pulling high through NASCAR turns 3 and 4. You'll see them serving slowdowns up there because you can effectively lose less time and also clear the slowdown, if you like. That sounds confusing, I know, but it does work if you run up high through there, and that's what Ryan Walker and also Gurley Gonzalo had in the Porsche Cup class a moment ago, and Pierre-Antoine Dallaire had that in the TCRs. He started right up in 3rd place of the TCR class. Unfortunately, he's dropped at 7, I believe, here. Yeah, he has. And he's now down in 23rd overall, which is 10th place in the TCR class. So that is a big shame for him. He's caught in the second group, if you like. There are the TCRs in class. The top four have got away. Millington's done a very good job with Pike to get back with the front two again, but the rest of them haven't been able to quite go with them for the moment. So it's not the one long line in TCR that we were expecting. In fact, it's two groups already, only 5 minutes in.
Yeah, Josh Millington's the last one on the back of this. You can see the two TSRs, well, there's four TSRs or esports teams there in this at the moment. Davidson leading the way with Kieran Sharp. Now, this is where we're going to see that closing difference again here for Sharp, but he's also got to be aware that in our back view there is Andrew Pike and Josh Millington. Mav Gardiner also looking like he's having a little bit of a ding-dong further back. He's leading the second group of TCRs, and he is at the moment. That is Mason, who's looking up the inside. These two Hondas going side by side through Lamont, coming out the other side at the moment. It's going to be a run now. It's got to be a run, and these guys are going to have to try and do this cleanly.
Goodness me, that was this is going to be proper NASCAR racing now. Through the banking, look at that. Up to the high side goes Schwab. Moss goes low, and look at this. There's bump drafting now on the way down towards turn number one. This is this is very NASCAR stuff now on the way down towards the line. Here we go. Oh, look at the inside. You can use the apron, by the way. It is within the rules. You're just advised to be very careful rejoining again for obvious reasons. In towards turn number one. Who's going to come out the other side with the position here? It's hard to know, really. They're all coming in with a lot more speed than they used to. And Schwab there on the inside line was all out of shape there. Or was that Mason, excuse me, coming out of shape. Really sideways on the brakes, but getting away with it. And getting that fifth position as well. More looks on the inside. From Moss on Matt Gardner. That's not quite worked out. Concertina effect around the International Horseshoe. They all get out the other side plainly, thankfully. But, goodness me, this is one big, very lively group.
It is, but there's also been a change up the front of the P-Cups at the moment. Nuttall has cleared Miller. Nuttall did clear Miller. We were focusing on that group because there was like two lock back to two, but well, I'd say he's cleared him, but for how long, that's going to be the question. Is Nuttall now doing the fuel saving, or is Miller, has Miller decided that actually I want to do that?
Well, he's pushing so far. It wasn't really fuel saving there. It looked like he was just pushing. I think it's the better, although it's the more boring choice, I think it is the better idea to stay behind and lift off. Durica gets it wrong towards turn one there. He was getting in with these guys, but he couldn't keep it on the road through there, and so he loses a bit of ground. It definitely looks like it's going to be between Nuttall and Miller, but you know, this is such an important race for Hayden Miller. I seem to think that 4 points behind coming into this round of the championship in the point standings. And he's got to start gaining some of them. We are halfway through the season, and so you can't afford to sit too far behind by losing out again here. You'll end up twice as far back next week as you were at the start of this. So be very careful of that indeed. But for now, it is just these two. Class of the field once again running 1 and 2 as they did back at the second round of the championship in the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, definitely. And these guys seem to be a lot quicker than some of the others in and around him. We'll see how Miller plays this and what he's going to do here. There's action all the way through the TCRs. Mav Gardner, Mason, Moss, Smaggersgau, Antoine Delaire, Schwab are all in and out and swapping places. So we will go down there very, very shortly. Just see what goes on. It doesn't look like Miller's got any intention to try and make this move at the moment. But look at this at the moment here with the TCRs.
Goodness me. These lot will not leave each other alone. I mean, thank goodness they don't care about the race win and they're not working together, because this is far more entertaining. It's 5th place right the way back to 11th, basically, and Raven and Hutcher are not that far behind them either. They're just off the back, and they'll be in with these guys before long if they carry on like this. Lewis Mason again forced to go defensive here. It's side by side between Pierre-Antoine Delaire and Moss, who is dropping back. It's Delaire coming forward. He was 10th, don't forget, only a couple of laps ago, now up to 7th. Shows that it's not all the washing machine of madness. There is a way to pick yourself through the order, and so far Pierre-Antoine Delaire has been able to do that. He's had 2 places gained on this lap.
Washing machine of madness. Great description.
That's what it is, isn't it?
It is a great description. And these guys have not finished with each other at all. Sharp and Davison up front, they aren't very far apart, but then again, they've always been on the same team. It just seems very teamworky here. No teamwork going from here. This is just hell-bent, go for it, see how you get on. And at the moment, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 9 cars in this pack, and nobody is leaving anyone alone. They are literally nose to tail like this.
Learner's sticker's not putting anyone off at the moment. They're treating him like everybody else treats learners on the road at the moment. This is absolutely manic stuff. Oh, more people up high. Oh, and even on the low side there. Now this is going to be interesting. Someone's going to have to yield here, and it is going to be Mason, on the outside, who just yields there. Gardner went well below the double yellow to make that move. You can use the apron, but you've got to be very willing that the driver alongside you will let you back in there. Now, I think Mason, in my opinion anyway, was certainly within his rights to put him in the grass there, because Gardner went below him on the double yellows, but they get away with it. And that's a very interesting pass. And what do the rest of them do now? Do they start to take up that move as well? Because don't forget, there's a lot of tarmac on the left-hand side there as you're on the pit entry. Can you use that to overtake or not before people start putting you in the grass? We'll wait and see over the course of the next half an hour.
Dallaire, Smaggerscale's gone. Big send from Pierre-Antoine Dallaire there. Big send. Hutter's gone round, I think. No, not Hutter, he hasn't gone round. I think Smaggerscale just got that all wrong, went a little bit deep there. Louis Hesketh has had a crash in the P Cup as well. Unfortunately for Louis, had a little bit of his own drama. So, yeah, Louis coming into turn... Where is he? Turn 7. Back end's going to go around here. Yep.
Ooh, good avoidance from those two behind. They're very easily piled on, but thankfully they avoided any carnage there. So to doing the smart thing on this occasion, not going side by side into the bus stop chicane and just making sure he stays with the group up in front, but not going to be quite so much teamwork on the way down towards turn 1, that's for sure. There's Chandler just in ahead of Clement Piblock, made up of about 4 places so far in this race, been doing a good job. Now what's going to happen in TCR on the way down towards turn 1 this time around? Who's running up high on the banking here and trying to get out of everybody else's way? I wonder, and dropping backwards. Oh, there they are. Nobody's got to slow down this time, which is good, but there are drivers running side by side. Raven, Smaggerscale and Swab are the ones you're watching at the moment, and that is going to be Raven pushed by Swab through on James Smaggerscale, who's on the outside, but now will be able to brake late. He's on his own, he's broken too late there. He's never going to get that stopped in time. You could see that coming from a long way away, and I'm afraid Smaggerscale drops now to third.
Who's that?
As the car coming across the road. Oh, they all avoided him just somehow. Mason there, who was battling for 5th place earlier on, has just come straight across the road there and nearly into the path of everybody.
Oh, he got it wrong here, and then he tries to come back on, but there's a bump there. Bang! Up he goes, shoots him round, and then everybody just barely misses him. Wow. That was dramatic. We've got action all the way through. Nuttall, Miller still fighting out. Dorica is in there. He's 1.2 back at the moment. They're coming into that traffic. We said between 7 and 9. We're on 8. So this is where he's going to now see what's going to happen. Ryan Walker, Kutsabo, Acton in behind that. Darban, Chandler, Biblock in behind that one. Hesketh, Cheverton, Kramers and Hamlin. Hamlin's a little bit further back out of all of them. But at the moment, all the way through, there is fights, including the leaders on this one.
Yeah, so it's going to be 2 full lappings for everybody here. Two times around for everybody to contend with. So and 3 for some. So that's what we've got here at Daytona tonight. Natomi, well, pushed through the corner by Miller. Normally in NASCAR racing, you'd advise against that, but they'll get away with it in the Cup cars. Oh, now into the bus stop. A bit of disagreement there as to whether they would go through. Durica's with them now all of a sudden. The traffic immediately has given us a leading 3 now in the Porsche Cup class. And watch the way they're going to roll around the outside of these guys now on the way through NASCAR turns 3 and 4. This is going to be the back end of the group. And don't forget, they've got that really big angry pack for 5th place to come on this next lap.
I do like you called them an angry pack, and you are correct. They are going to have trouble here because that pack are not giving up. Moss has just lost another place to Dallaire. Dallaire has gone through on Moss. Now, mind you, they are just up this corner through this left-hander. It looks like Mason's been off track again. He's managed to recover, but they've got to try and pick them off one by one. But the problem is where is going to be the gap to be able to do that And are they actually going to be able to pick them off? Because they're fighting. They've been at each other's throats all night, and they're not going to stop just because a P-Cup car comes through.
This is going to be very exciting indeed. Derica was briefly with these leading two, but he's just got caught up behind a TCR through the fast left-handed kick there at turn 4. And he's just dropped off the back as a result. Oh, blinking just up in front of them as well. That's not helpful. Mason, who was just blinking there in the TCRs, they'll get away with it, though, on the inside. Nutto through turn 6. They will thankfully do most of it on the banking here. There they are. Some of them go up high. Some of them will stay down low because that's where the racing line is here on the banking. They'll get away with this. They've actually had to negotiate most of it on the high banks, and that is certainly preferable when you're in the Porsche Cup class.
Miller's lifting.
As is Nutto.
Yeah, both of them are. No, neither of them took the chance there, but what's going to happen? Eskev is just pushing Daban along. But they're all doing what they should be doing here. But Davidson has got Sharp pushing him. Millington's got Pike. Then we've got Mav Gardner, who's got Smith and Dallaire. So, yeah, they're still going full ball at each other.
And it's very close for the lead, just up ahead there as well in the overall lead. So there's a lot going on here on the way past start-finish line at the start of lap number 10 here. Nutto still leads, though, ahead of Miller, who's going to be leading in this battle for 5th in a moment. That's a very big late-breaking mover from Antoine Dallaire, who gets it a bit wrong. And Smith just put through on the inside line. They're into 6th place, so back up the inside he goes. Now there's lower-level Porsche Cup traffic will be coming through on this battle during the infield. There's Ryan Walker in the 4th position, just ahead of Gergely Conchabo. These guys are being estranged from a podium right now because of all this. The TCRs are going to stay one side. The Porsche Cups are going to go around the other, round the outside of the kink. Are they all going to fit here? Oh, they just about do. Conchabo was in the crash just briefly.
Nuttall's crashed.
Get away with it on the inside line. And yes, oh, Miller and Nuttall have both dropped down the field. I wonder whether Nuttall was hit by Miller or not. No, Miller breaks late. Nuttall spins on his own. The two championship rivals going for simultaneous mistakes at the West Horseshoe.
Yeah, both of them making a mistake there, unfortunately, for Nuttall and Walker. They've lost Nuttall and Miller, sorry. Walker's in behind him, didn't manage to capitalise. He was too far back. That's put Rafael Dorica in 1st place. A great job from him. He now gets, where's he got? He's only got the leaders left to go through here. And then he's lapped the TCR, so he's full on pace again. However, he did just take quite a lot of curb on the exit there, and he's going to need to be a little bit more careful. But at the moment, great action. As you say, Nuttall and Miller both doing simultaneous mistakes going into the Western Horseshoe. Freed up Dorica. He should be able to run as much as he possibly can now and get away. Sharp and Davidson not really doing a lot. They're still fighting it out on the racetrack, and at the moment, they're kind of just very followy.
There's quite a lot of pit stops happening now since we're nearly on the halfway mark. You imagine those three at the front in the Porsche Cups will be staying out for a little while now because there's quite a lot of free track space up ahead. Until that disappears, I think they'll be staying out there on the circuit, but plenty of pit stops now in the TCRs as the main part of the Porsche Cup class is starting to come through. That's going to mean that actually less lap traffic to negotiate for everybody because of the way round they're doing this. The TCR's coming in and then the Porsche Cups cars later. They should, in effect, be able to do an overcut, but it obviously doesn't quite work like that because they're in different classes. That's a look on Davison, but no, him and Sharp will just have to wait. And then he'll get a bit closer a little bit later on. These two have been working together. They are teammates, after all, for TSRC Esports, and you can see that they've been working together like teammates as well. They're more than 3 seconds ahead of the 3rd place driver. It's between those two again.
Yeah, it is, and I'm wondering which way round this is going to go this time. As much as we'd love to see teammates fight, they've got to use their brain. Oh, Louis Heskev. Same place.
Turn 6 again, by the looks of this, yeah. This time on entry, slides his way through. Yeah, that's almost exactly what happened before, but this time he was hit. That was a pretty heavy hit as well there through the corner. Now, was that Samuel Kremers who hit him, maybe? Not entirely sure. It's going to be impossible to tell whether he's got steering damage just for the moment. It did look... No, it was Biblock, I think. That Daban is there as well, so it's hard to know which of them it was. But anyway,
I think he might
there was
have a little
certainly contact there.
Yeah, I think he might have a little bit of damage, but not much. Dorica's in pit lane.
Wow.
I am surprised at that, considering we're not really near anyone.
Yeah, same. Yeah, same. So, well, I was going to say either they're running out of fuel or he's made a mistake. Oh, he's just had to back up there into his box as well. This is not a good stop and not a good timing either for Dorica. I think you need to be able to carry on at least one more, maybe two more here, and that's what Miller and Nuttall are going to do. It is Chandler and Hamling battling away for 6th position, and that is going to be a lower position a little bit later because they've just gained a whole load of places by crossing the start-finish line. Dorica, meanwhile, makes his way out of the lane, and this is exactly the problem. He's going to come out in a bit more clean air, actually, so maybe he has worked this out quite well because he's come out still ahead of the TCR leaders. Some of them are coming in now, and he's got, even more clean air in front of him, so maybe actually he has made the right call. He's not out in any traffic like I thought he would be.
It'll be... I think for me, it would just be how far can he get up once he starts going through. Because Miller's not pitted, Nuttall's not pitted, but they have both had incidents. Has that 2.8 he's got to Nuttall that he had going into pit lane, is that going to affect how he is going to come out? I think this could still be really close, but I just wonder, they're on clean air, and Rafael Dorica at the moment, to be fair, he's got a bunch of clean air in front of him. He is. So he might be all right, as these guys surely, Miller's in. What about Nuttall? Yep.
Okay.
And Sabo, Walker, maybe. Oh, let's see how far Dorica can get.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, the only driver in front of him at the moment is Kieran Sharp of the TCRs, and he's not stopped yet either. So this is all going to clear out very nicely for Dorica. This has been timed really quite well, actually. Now, I'll take back my earlier comment. I'll apologise because, he certainly looks to have made the right one here. In any case, they weren't going to be able to run much further on fuel anyway because they've run out now after 12 laps. That's not very many laps, by the way. I'm surprised it's run out quite so early, but anyway, that's besides the point. They pit in now, and they will make it all the way home. Here comes Miller, out first, way ahead of Nuttall. That's a good stop here for Hayden Miller. Out ahead. They were pretty much the same, though, Miller and Nuttall. There they are on the inside line. There's Miller just getting to the end of the pit box, but they've got to get up to speed, don't forget. Here comes Dorica. He's going to get past Nuttall. He's not going to get past Miller. Miller's going to be the leader here, and Dorica's going to be defended. Oh, wow. Jamie Nuttall came straight out the pit lane there. He better hope he didn't cross the right line, otherwise he'll have a drive-through penalty. But Dorica has been held off just about for that second place.
Nuttall made sure of that as well. Straight out of pit lane, straight across. He literally just come out, bang, straight in front of him, stopped him dead there, and poor old Dorica almost had it. Almost had it. And that stems from the fact that he went in earlier and he's got a 3-second pit lane stop longer than these guys.
Also in TCR, Davidson got back out ahead of Sharp. So that was a race off pit lane, but it ended with Davidson in front. Here come still a couple of the back end Porsche Cup cars right now coming through. That is Guillaume Hamling, who's making his way through. And this is a big group, by the way, in Porsche Cup land. Samuel Kremers in 8th place, ahead of William Chandler, Anthony Daban, Matt Cheverton, and Clement Biblock, all in one long line here. So this is the biggest group in the Porsche Cup field. We've got a similarly big one in TCR, which has just basically reformed after the pit stop phase.
Yeah, that's down with Mav Gardner, Bobby Moss, Paul Smith, Smaggers Gale. We've got a 1.3 second gap back to Bart Raven. So there's still battles happening, but there's also still a lot of battles happening up and down the race circuit everywhere. So we will try. It's almost one of these occasions I need kind of 3 PCs to catch all of this, I think.
And 3 octopuses to press all the buttons.
Yes.
That would help. It's exchange for second, briefly. Dorica's dropping down. I think he was in a side-by-side with Nuttall, and he's just dropped back. Or was it on his own? I'm not sure, but Guggen Sabo's onto a podium all of a sudden. This is Cheverton, though, round the outside of into 10th place. Yeah, it was a mistake at turn 1 for Dorica. There's the pass. Dorica, I'm afraid, is out the running for the race win. That was Cheverton getting past Biblock, I should say, or was it? He's not. That's not. the person he was side by side with has disappeared entirely. So that's not great, but Cheverton is up into the top 10, ahead of Guillaume Hamling, who's now ahead of Clement Biblock and Anthony Daban, who have both dropped outside the top 10 in the last couple of moments.
Yeah, Daban, I don't know if Daban and Biblock have had a moment here to themselves. Side by side into one. Oh, Biblock put Daban in the wall.
Ouch.
Oh, no. That wasn't Daban who put him in the wall. Cheverton put him in the wall.
It was contact with Cheverton. Yeah, I need to see it again whether I'm going to put any blame on Cheverton here. Let's have a look again here. Oh, it's a very slight bit of contact, isn't it? That sent Daban straight left into the wall. Biblock didn't have anywhere to go, and the two Frenchmen, unfortunately, are forced to pick up the pieces of their own accident there. I feel that's a bit of a shame for the both of them, really. They were having a good battle, and it wasn't very much contact that sent Daban really hardly left. Well, not hardly left, sorry. Very hard left, I should say.
Yeah, but it was just that slight little bit, and I think that was the thing. When you're unsettling the car, travelling at so high speed, it caused him to go into the side of the wall, and once he hit the wall, we come back, bounce back out into the middle of the track, and Biblock had nowhere to go. Chandler trying to push Kramer's here, and Kramer's in the front in the white and black. Is he going to be able to? He's just going to be followed, I think, all the way through. And that is basically going to be the state and situation. Now, we've got...
I was deep on the brakes, sorry.
That's all right.
You know, he was never going to make that. I knew he wasn't going to make it. Cheverton there, he has got up and dropped back again after briefly getting a bit to ninth. I thought that was too deep on the brakes from the moment he pressed them. And turned out to be. So there you go. Unfortunately, Daban and Biblock have both had to come back to pit lane as well. Yeah, so they'll get their repairs done. It'll be 12th and 13th place finish for them, unfortunately. Davidson versus Sharp is still going on, by the way. Reason we're not showing it so far is because not much has really happened between them. They're just still running nose to tail at the moment in first and second. Surely they are going to battle for the win a bit later, but for now, they're just leaving it, and that's probably the best thing. With nearly 8 seconds in the bag, though, I'm sure their battle commencing is not that far away.
Well, hopefully these guys will have a fight at one point, right? You know what I mean? I'd love to see them having a great ding dong, but they did this last week and followed each other around. You know, and I don't know. I'd love to see them swapping backwards and forwards and side by side and chancing even remotely. Oh, the lights come on. Chancing taking each other out. I don't know, but they're not. And we'll see if over the last, we got 12 minutes, whether or not they're going to.
Well, they've finished 1 and 2 in every race so far this season. Davison won the first race with Sharp in second. Sharp has won the other two. Can he win a third in a row? He's looking down the inside. Now the battles begin in towards the bus stop chicane. That was the first time we've seen Sharp really giving this a proper look. And look at the run he's got as well here. If that was a legal exit, then he's going to be in the money here, and it certainly was. Now he's pulling alongside. Now we've got our fight between these two.
Yeah. Here we go. This is going to take place all the way down to the line here. Is Kieran Sharp going to be able to hold that outside line? There is Davidson on the inside. Is Davidson going to play the sensible card and not let him go? Well, we're going to find out. Davidson's still running up. He's still front wheel, rear wheel. The gap at the moment. Sharp trying to go around the outside line. Davidson's not going to allow it. I think Davidson should have the better exit coming out of turn number 1. He does. Go straight across his nose. Job done. Chandler's had a drama.
Oh dear. William Chandler down at the bottom end of the top 10. He was at least in the top 10 at the time, though, which should have been a positive, but it's too late on the brakes. Knew it from straight away there, locked it all up and did a good job keeping it out of the wall, but unfortunately that's going to drop him down to 11th place, and that's outside the top 10 now.
Yeah, outside, unfortunately, for William Chandler. He is basically in last in the P-Cups. TCRs side by side. This is where we're starting it in the Western Horseshoe. Sharp here with, oh, blimey, with Davidson as they give it a little bit of door bang going on. Is this going to cost them? Is this they're 8.5 seconds? Surely that's enough to go scrapping.
Oh, yeah, and that, I think, is why they've started to here. Yeah, I think they've realised as well it is enough time for them to begin fighting over this. Miller now is into traffic for the final time, by the way. Just less than half an hour gone in this race, and traffic is upon us for the final time. He's got 1.4 seconds over Nuttall, who's his biggest challenger for this race. Can he retain that 1.5 second margin through these 19 TCRs? And if he can, then he's got this race won. But a very important couple of laps coming up here.
Yeah, he's just got to make sure he gets through them without any dramas. He doesn't need to do anything silly. He doesn't need to put himself under pressure. He can do this nice and straightforward here. He's got lucky. He's on the NASCAR bend. He should be able to pick up quite a few of them before he goes down into Le Mans. Both of them run up high. One's going to go low. No, backs out, goes high. And Miller does go through. So a good job from Hayden Miller at the moment. The others should be the run out of Le Mans down into turn number 1.
He's got clear track in front of him. But Nuttall has not been affected by either of them either. So it's a 0-0 draw at the moment, if you want. There's no effect there for either of them. If anything, Nuttall got a bit closer. I think that was just through normal driving rather than the traffic itself. Out of the bus stop they go. They are absolutely dead level. The advantage they've got this time round, as opposed to the first time through traffic, is that they are actually more spread apart than they were earlier. It was one really big group earlier, as we saw, battling for 5th place. They initially did come out almost like that, but they've split apart a bit more now, and you can see Miller just picking them off one by one here almost. Yeah,
but now he's got the problem. He didn't get enough. He only got up to 13th place in the TCRs, which is Stephen Hutter, who's just up the road. Nuttall did not get... Oh, that wasn't clean. For Miller, he only got up to 13th. We can still, there's more in front. Now, what he wants to be able to do at the moment, run full speed as fast as he's going to go. But in hindsight, he wants to catch the next group, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Either coming into 6 here, which is the left-hander as they go on, or he wants to get them on the actual oval part of the track itself. He's kind of almost getting lucky here, I think, at this moment.
It's I think, a part of the reason that there's a limited point on this circuit where you catch them and you're unhappy about it. I think a lot of this circuit, you're pretty pleased to catch traffic. Meanwhile, this has been going on for the lead, by the way. There was all sorts of changing going on the way towards the bus stop there. Sharp trying to get past Davidson, and this is feeling like it's going to be a run to the line for these two and a photo finish perhaps in 8 minutes' time. We'll wait and see on that, but this is a big battle between these two. And don't forget, they'll have Porsche Cup traffic very late on in this race as well, right the way down to the very last lap, although they will have to wait another lap before it starts to affect their battle. Look at that absolute photo finish to see who leads the next lap. Sharp on the outside line, Davidson on the inside line, and that's a good effort from Sharp running around the outside there, but Davidson hangs on again and he continues in first position. 1.6 seconds from Miller at the front of the race overall.
Yeah, Davidson's got that job done now. He managed to hold on to that position in front of Sharp. We're going to find out how much longer. Sharp is looking really racy at this moment in time. They've gone through the international horseshoe, going to go into turn 4.
Oh.
Quick kink on the left there. Big shout of, oh, in my ear from Mr. O'Leary.
Lap traffic for Miller has brought the... Oh, look at that in the background there. That was a huge group there for Miller at the wrong moment, but it's going to come back to him here. It was initially bad news for the race leader, but it's bad news now for Jamie Nuttall. This is what's the remaining sort of that big group we were watching earlier, and it's again, it's as he were. So they've had the stage of this battle where there was actually no traffic for either of them, and they were both getting pretty fortunate. Now they've both had a pretty bad couple of corners with traffic, and they're still 1.5 seconds apart.
Yeah, they are, and they're still where they would be. What is going on? Oh, that's going on. I wondered what was going on with Kramers and Cheverton. They swapped a couple of times, and now they're going once more. And at the moment, that is Kramers there. Hamlin's in behind him. Cheverton's in front. They caught that group of traffic in a really bad spot as well.
On the inside. Oh, careful. Cheverton just very tight to the inside there with one of the Hyundais on the outside line. Get away with it. 8th place then for Cheverton. And... he holds on from Kremers and Hamling at the moment. Unfortunately, William Chandler, after that incident down in towards the West Horseshoe, is a bit further behind. Davidson and Sharp, meanwhile, go over the start-finish line again, absolutely side by side. 6 minutes to go. There may only be... Well, there might be 4 laps actually left. We'll see how quick the leaders are, but this is absolutely dotted on, this contact. Contact, sharp there, just slides to the outside. And Davidson continues to hold the lead on the inside line there in towards turn 1.
Yeah, the question's going to be, by the looks of it, is how much longer. I think you are right. This is going to be a last lap run to the line. I don't think these guys are really going to leave each other alone at this moment. They're battling now, which is great to see. They've done what they had to do in the first half. They've escaped and got away with it. That is it. Now there's full-on fist fight. Let's see who comes out and let's see who wins here. Millington and Pike are also close together in the background, and we'll see how they get on once that run takes place. But we've still got the Chevitt and Kramer's free wide situation going on, going into turn number 1.
Yep, Hamling as well. Oh, Hamling on the very outside is going to go nowhere, and that's way too late from Kremers. Way too late on the brakes from Samuel Kremers, and he's gone down to 10th place. Oh, there are some bumps over there, aren't there? Goodness me. He's trying to get through on the inside there on the apron. Broke far too late for the angle at which he was coming in at. And there you go. Spun right the way round in towards turn number 1. And that is that. Have a look at this, though. Bonk. There you are. That's how we ended up with a crash in TCR, of course, a little bit earlier on. Oh, and he did get a bit of front left damage from some of that as well. Smashing himself on the floor probably didn't help. Anyway, side by side, meanwhile, for it was 5th place earlier. Pierre-Antoine Dallaire has got away from this, so it's 6th place now for Gardner, Smith, Moss and Smaggersgale. This is that big group in the field that some of the latter end Porsche Cup cars are still yet to quite come through on. Meanwhile, the overall leaders are about to pass the TCR leaders here, by the way. 4 minutes still to go. I reckon it's going to be 3 laps here because of the pace that the overall leaders are going at, and Nuttall's into the slipstream. The traffic has just come good for him right at the very end here, and it looks like Jamie Nuttall is in the game now. 4 minutes to go. There's contact. The teammates make contact. Davidson's in the wall by the looks of things, and Sharp is in the lead. Is that correct? What's gone on here for the one of those TCRs? It's Davidson who's in the wall. It is Davidson who's in the wall. Sorry, I've almost thought Nuttall and Miller were going to go in the wall, but this is how this one happened. Whoa, I'm going back. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go back this way because we're not going to be able to see this any other way. Oh, he did it himself. Did it himself on the apron. Have a look at this. Davidson on the inside, he tries to sort of shorten the distance as much as he possibly can. Oh, no, there is contact. There is contact, excuse me. There is contact. And at the highest possible speed, Davidson slams the wall, and that is huge for the championship. It's a good job his drop week is a 2nd place finish, because he is not going to finish on the podium here tonight. Yeah, he's not. He's jumped straight back to pit lane. He's down in 30th. 19th in class at the moment on that one. So, yeah, very, very dramatic indeed. Miller, Nuttall still going around there as well. Kev, I'm not even going to read that conversation out that you seem to be having with yourself there, son. I'm not even going to get myself in that much trouble. But, yes, let's just put it this way. Touching got out of hand. Oh, dear. Well, it's going to be one of those that's argued about afterwards, isn't it? Because there was certainly a meeting of the two cars. And, again, it doesn't take much contact to send these TCRs off. That's what we've learned tonight. And the Porsche Cup cars, actually. But yeah, certainly at high speed, these TCRs are very, very volatile indeed. So then, this is not the white flag, as far as I'm aware. This is 2 minutes remaining, and the pace that these guys have been putting on has given us an extra lap here. So 2 to go here at Daytona. Nuttall got past as Miller was sort of lifting off and braking because he didn't know where Davidson was going to go. Nuttall then took the opportunity. He went through. Do you want to be leading, though, at this stage in the race? Do you want to be second? The games have begun here for the race win battle. Oh, dude, we have seen this last lap draft battle on so many circuits. Road Atlanta in Radicals. We've seen it here as well in multiple different formats. It's such a risky game. It is like playing the lottery, and you don't know if your numbers are going to come up, because I can tell you what, on that final lap, if Miller gets turn 6 wrong, Nuttall's going to be away. You cannot afford to get these. This is the thing. Hayden Miller's got to be perfect now. He's got to be perfect to make that run work, and if he isn't, this last lap run that he's hoping for is just going to go out the window. This is going to be very, very interesting indeed. How does Miller play this? 1 minute to go. He's staying behind for the moment. Is Nuttall going to let him do that? Does he believe that the best place to win this race from is also from the front of the race? Have they come to some sort of agreement here as to what's going to happen? I think you want to be in second, personally, but we'll wait and see. Nuttall was quite a long way over the curbs there. Oh, he was staying high for a moment. I thought he might have a slowdown, but he's got away with it. He's fine. Now then, what does Miller do? What does Nuttall do? Up towards the line. There is going to be one more lap, and there's the push through Descott turn 4. That's quite a hard push for a corner. Goodness me. He's going to get away with it. And they're going to bump draft one another to the line. Miller wants second, and he doesn't want Nuttall to know how close it's going to be either. He didn't try and overtake there. He didn't sort of give himself a dry run, as if to say, you know, if I am second going on to the last lap, how's the photo finish going to look? He didn't bother with any of that. He just bumped him all the way over the line. He's put his faith in second. Nuttall has put his faith in leading this final lap.
And traffic. Oh, Miller, you've got to go.
2 PCRs on this lap.
Yeah, Miller's got to go.
Davidson.
Yeah, he is. Davidson's come back out pit lane.
It is, yeah.
You've got to get him. You've got to get him.
Esports. Here we go into the West Torch Series. He's going to stay out of the way. He's going to stay out of the way. So well done to that TCR there. That was Grant Miller staying out of the way. He's probably going to lose a place to Tom Davidson as a result in down the line. But this is the battle. Nuttall versus Miller onto the banking for the final time.
Yeah, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hold on to your hats. It's going to be this part here. Who's going to come out on top? Who's going to get that run in through Le Mans and out the other side? Is it going to be Miller? Is it going to be Nuttall? What's Nuttall's game plan going to do here? Is this going to... Don't do
he's
it.
lifting.
Don't do it.
He's lifting. They both want to be second here. They're both in the game. And there goes Miller, straight into the back rim here. He says, I'm keeping this second place. Thanks very much. You've overtaken me earlier on. Now then, out of the bus stop they go. Nuttall just slows through the middle of the corner to try and prevent Miller from getting a slingshot. They're both lifting off here. He's on the outside line. Miller goes for it. Round the outside. Now then, what does he do from here? He's just going for it now. Nuttall lifted off there to try and get himself back in the slipstream and back past again. But is it going to work? It's going to be a photo finish between these two. Down the way towards the start finish line here at Daytona. Miller versus Nuttall, separated by thousands. It's going to be Nuttall. He just gets there. The series leader takes 3 on the bounce in the TSRC Tin Top Series. 3 thousandths of a second is gap at the line.
Wow. That could not have been any closer, even if we wanted it to here. That was just absolutely extraordinary. And you can see just there where Nuttall is. Look at that. That is nuts. Oh my God. I don't even know if I can get a better view than how close that actually was here for these guys. But that was just absolute. Well, there you go. That's off the front splitter of Miller's car. Wow.
Yeah, it is. That makes it look further than it is, actually.
Yeah.
Somehow.
But shh,
anyway.
Don't tell anyone. It was close. It was just close.
It was close. Yeah, 3 thousandths. That's all you need to know. Nuttall beats Miller for the 3rd week in a row. That's 3 in a row now for Nuttall. By the way, further down, Kieran Sharp has taken the win in TCR. Pike has beaten Millington to the line for second. Oh, my word. And it's 3 wide over the line here. Down for 22nd overall. Hutter just beats Raven in the TCR battles, and that was Chandler over the line in 11th place with them at the same time. Here's another photo finish. This is Wu trying to get past Gareth Ronda for what will be 13th in class, and that is another close finish. 7 thousandths between them as well. Some very, very close finishes indeed at Daytona, but what else can you expect here at this great circuit? What a fantastic finish that was to this round of the TSRC Tin Top Series. We'll have a look at those results here at the end of a dramatic race. It says 13 thousandths there. Maybe that is more true. I don't know. But Jamie Nuttall has taken the win, certainly ahead of Hayden Miller, with Rafa Durica rounding out the top 3. Gurley and Chabo lost that 3rd place pretty comfortably at the end, with Matt Acton rounding out the top 5. Ryan Walker finishing in 6th ahead of Guillaume Hamling. Then it was Matt Cherriton, Lou Hesketh and Samuel Kremers rounding out the top 10, with William Chandler rounding out the Porsche Cup cars towards the front. Kieran Sharp wins in TCR ahead of Andrew Pike and Josh Millington on the podium. Pierre-Antoine Delay got up to 4th ahead of Matt Gordon, who was heading a huge group for the most of the race. James Magersgale and Paul Smith were still involved in that right the way towards the very end. In 19th place overall was Lewis Mason as far as I can tell. Although my timing screen is telling me something different to this result sheet now, so I'm just going to wait for that because. I don't know.
People haven't got slowdowns off at the end, mate. It will reflect on the
exactly,
penalties.
exactly. I'm trying to work out who's missing. Anyway, Mason's 19th. Then it's Marlon Schwab ahead of Hutter and Raven. We saw those two go over the line together. Daniel Roberts just ahead of Gareth Ronda and Johnny Wood. We saw them go over the line together. Thomas Martin, then Matt Smith, then Bobby Moss. Tom Davison, of course, finished 29th, as we saw. Grant Miller was the driver. He passed right at the very end. Clement Biblock and Anthony Dabang retired after their crash, unfortunately for them. So, who was it who dropped down the field at the end? I couldn't tell you for the moment, to be honest with you, because I'm not entirely sure. But there you go. We'll get through some interviews first of all and start with Hayden Miller, who has finished second place here tonight at Daytona. Well, congratulations, Hayden. It is another podium for the season, I guess. Third podium of the season, but you must be disappointed to miss out on the race win by that much.
Yeah, it was, for me, devastating. Obviously, finishing, what's that, 0.013 behind Jamie is it's obviously a blow from the pace I had. From qualifying, I was like, I was surprised about the pace I had, but yeah, just I I was actually on Jamie's pace in the starting stage of fuel saving, and I was actually able to box the same lap as him, which is quite nice to do because he always pips me by 1 lap at fuel. So we had equal running, equal lap times, equal pace. I think it was like 2 seconds I pipped him by the straight, by pit exit, but I think I underfueled by a litre, so I had to fuel save a bit more than him, or if he did at all. So that definitely did me a disadvantage. But what also did me a disadvantage is, as you can see on the live stream, was Mav pulling out last minute, and I don't think I've had such a heart attack like that since my rookie days. So yeah, that was a big scare, but the race went nice.
I was just thinking that watching the replay. We didn't see this quite live, but yeah, it was very lively going on back there. That group was lively for the whole race, by the way. I mean, just tell us about the tactics between you and Jamie towards the line there. I mean, there's so much to think about at Daytona on the run towards the line. I think it's one of the most exciting things in iRacing when two drivers battling for the win at Daytona, battling for sometimes battling who's going to be second, but not only moving all over the road to try and manoeuvre himself to try and win the race. Eventually he did, but just talk us through the tactics on that last lap, because you were both doing all sorts, of course.
Yeah, my tactics were just from the race start is just stick behind him, or because obviously I qualified on pole, so it was just that it wasn't really to break away like Red Bull Ring or something like that, or Silverstone. It was just to kind of not lift off, but don't try to break away from him, because you benefit from a car being behind you here because of the bump draft. So if you can get the bump draft at the circuit, it'll give you a massive advantage. But the last few laps when I was fuel saving, I just once or twice a lap looked at the relative, and I just seen the gap come down to 2 seconds, 1.51 over the course of like 5 laps. So he was definitely catching me. But the last lap, we were both thinking, because me and him were chatting in the voice channel, and basically he was trying to lift coming into the bus stop to get the run out, and I kind of followed him doing that. But yeah, I was just trying to keep my nose clean and see what I could do. Obviously, I knew the switchback was available coming at the bus stop, so I went for it. But yeah, inside line on a banking really helps the car defending. So it was a good run, though.
It was certainly a good battle. Well, congratulations on finishing second, Hayden. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, Jamie. He's a brilliant driver. He's given me loads of tips when I'm struggling, all the way back to the F4s. So yeah, awesome guy. So yeah, shout out to him.
Congratulations again, Hayden, on second place tonight, and thanks for coming to chat to us as well.
Thank you. See you.
Thanks very much, Hayden Miller there in second place here tonight. We haven't got any of the other podium drivers to chat to us just for the moment, but Louis Hesketh is down there waiting for us as well, so we can chat to him too. At ninth place for yourself, Louis. I've got to say, considering you started in 8th place, one of the best starts of the season, I would say, to get yourself up. I think you were 3rd place out of the International Horse Show on lap 1 somehow. Just tell us a little bit about the start of the race and how you managed to do that.
Hi, Ewan. Yeah, I'm surprised of how I ended up in qualifying after just trying to push as hard as I can with as little practice, to be honest with you. But yeah, turn 1, I immediately went down into the inside, going across the finish line because I knew the inside line was favourable. So I just stuck down to the inside, passed 2 or 3 cars through that itself. I had no one side by side with me, so I could then take the inside onto the International Horseshoe. Ryan and someone else, I don't know who, got triangled up on the outside, so it left me a perfect space to slot my car on the inside and take it into P3.
Well, in the end, it was a 9th place finish for you. We saw you go for a spin a couple of times on the way out of turn 6 onto the banking a couple of times. Just what was it that was so difficult about that corner in the Porsche Cup car?
I'm not sure if others had this issue, but I was just pushing throttle as hard as I can to just try to get the best exit onto the long banking. If you get, even if at half a second, it still makes a difference.
Yeah, it's very important corner, of course. Going onto there, that's for sure. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
No one in particular. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming to chat to us. We will see you in 1 week's time at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, see you there.
Thanks very much, Louis Hesketh there in 9th place here tonight. Other drivers who have come to have a chat with us, Matt Cheverton and also James Smagersgale by the looks of things. We'll stay with Porsche Cup land for the moment and chat to Matt first of all. Welcome in, Matt. Good to have you with us. 8th place for you here today. Just tell us a little bit about how your race went here at Daytona.
Yeah, P8. Considering I didn't get much practice in over the week, I'll take that as a good result. Pace was a bit sketchy to start with, but yeah, we built up speed, hit the marks, and just got quicker. Obviously, had a bit of a speed bump, got whacked on lap 1, not very helpful. But then just said it's not over yet, kept my head down, maybe pulled out a few tricks from the book of NASCAR, and then, yeah, gained a couple of spots.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was some great battles going on round you. Just how was it to be in a group around here at Daytona with the slipstream playing a role? And of course, you did have a little bit of side-to-side contact with somebody at some stage as well. But how was it to be in the largest Porsche Cup group in the field, effectively?
It's always a bit of fun, you know. Well, because the more cars there are, the faster you go. So always adds a bit of fun there. I mean, makes it a bit more sketchy at turn 1. Praying to Lord you don't lock up and go meet your best friend Barrier. But yeah, no, it's quite fun, and obviously more cars, more lap time, so you sort of gain on other people around that may or may not be so fortunate with help.
All right. Well, congratulations on finishing in the top 10 and 8th place here tonight. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
I'll just say cheers to my teammate James Lewis for getting out the way in the touring cars when I needed them to. I pitted a bit earlier than other Porsche Cups and ended up right behind them on the outlap. So cheers for them to moving aside. Other than that, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you next week then. Matt, thanks so much for coming to chat to us, and as I say, we'll see you in a week.
Yep. Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Matt Cheverton there in 8th place in Porsche Cupland. Now, back to the TCRs now, where we can now chat to James Smagersgale, who can join us. That's 6 places for you gained in class here tonight, James, and 8 overall. And you were involved in a great battle all the way through, the biggest group in the field in the first stage of the race. And then there were even 4 of you after you'd all made your pit stops as well. I mean, it just looked like a bit of a washing machine gone wrong, to be honest, at some stage. There was cars all over the place. Tell us what it was like to be part of such a big battle like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was good fun. I mean, I think that's the most fun I've ever had in a touring car, honestly. But I mean, I was getting quite annoyed. Seemingly, you're right. I was in those battles for the whole time, but I seemingly was the car at the back of the battles every time. I spent like that whole race trying to get around like 1 or 2 cars. But yeah, compared to last week in Mugello, where I started at the front on the front row, because of the reverse grid, there's a lot different having to fight through the field. But no, I really enjoyed it. Having some really good scraps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what Daytona brings for sure. I can't help but noting you're in one of the only Audis in the field. In fact, you're the only Audi here tonight in the TCR field. What is it about that car that you seem to like and nobody else seems to?
I feel like it's an issue of personal skill. It tends to be. Because I've been driving these cars quite a lot recently, and I tried the Elantra, and it went horribly wrong in a different series. I tried it for about 3 rounds. Yeah, it went horribly wrong. Went straight back to the Audi and instantly bounced back. So I don't know. In TCR, for some reason, I can't drive the other cars. And annoyingly, the Audi, as probably pretty evident by the fact I was the only one, isn't the car choice if you wanted the OP car. However, for Daytona, it probably is up there with its straight line speed. It's kind of ridiculous, but also again, at the same time, I think every TCR is bouncing off the rev limiter in a tow down into turn 1 anyway, so it sort of gets leveled out a little bit.
It used to be really good, didn't it? But nowadays, don't see many of them around anymore. Well, I'm glad you were representing them anyway here tonight. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, my title sponsor, Woodland. Massive thank you for continuing to back the team, Aztec Racing, TSRC for putting on another epic event, and you guys for putting on another awesome stream.
Thanks very much. We'll see you next week, James, and thanks very much for coming to chat to us tonight.
See you later. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thanks very much, James Smagasgale there in the TCR class. 6th place for him here today. Well, that was a lot of fun here at Daytona tonight, I've got to say. I enjoyed that. The closest finish we've had all season, and I suspect it will be the closest by the end of the season as well, between Jamie Nuttall and Hayden Miller. But Nuttall wins again, and that's 3 in a row now overall.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough blow. It's going to be a tough blow for the Peacup boys to try and work out what they're going to have to do. Hayden Miller really needed that. He really needed that going into the next 2 rounds, because we got the Nürburgring combined as well, and then we finish off at Interlagos. It's going to be hard to see when Miller can get these victories here, but we know how hard Nürburgring combined can be. You make one mistake and be in a wall. So there's still chances, but I think for Miller, he really needs to take the next 2 and hope that Nuttall finishes a little bit further back. TCRs, however, I would have loved to have been in the debrief between Kieran Sharp there and Anthony Davidson to see Tom Davidson, to see what went on.
Anthony, you're right going with the 2000s F1 drivers today.
Hey,
anyway.
I just got it. I don't know where I popped it. I think I'm taking a leaf out of your book and combining drivers all of a sudden.
Oh, I did smash somebody's name together earlier. Yeah, that's true. But
in fact, you tried
anyway,
putting 3 names together, Mr. O'Leary. Let's not forget that.
I did, yeah. That went well. Anyway, yeah, it was great battling in the field. Unfortunately, we didn't get 2 photo finishes. We had to settle for just the one and the late drama in TCR. But yeah, what a great round of the championship. We'll be back next week, indeed, at the Nürburgring VLN layout. That includes the Nürburgring Nordschleife, of course, that you can join us again for that. I've been Jon O'Leary alongside James Prophet. Until we see you in 7 days' time on the Nürburgring, it's goodbye for now.
Thank you.